Korea boasts a rich and vibrant history, spanning millennia. It's a story of resilience, innovation, and cultural brilliance. From its ancient origins to its modern-day triumphs, Korea has consistently punched above its weight, leaving an indelible mark on the world stage. This is the story of a nation forged in the crucible of time, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Korean people. Korea's history is a captivating tapestry woven with threads of triumph and tragedy, unity and division. It is a narrative that has shaped not only the Korean Peninsula but also influenced the course of East Asian history and beyond. From the invention of the world's first metal movable type printing press to the global phenomenon of K-pop, Korea's contributions to human civilization are both profound and diverse. The Korean Peninsula, a land of rugged mountains and fertile plains, has been inhabited for over 1 million years, with evidence of human activity dating back to the Paleolithic period. This ancient land witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the flourishing of art and culture, and the enduring strength of a people bound together by a shared heritage. This is a journey through time, a voyage of discovery and exploration of the captivating saga that is Korean history. The Korean Peninsula, nestled strategically between China and Japan, has long been a cultural crossroads, absorbing and adapting influences from its powerful neighbors. This unique geographical location has played a pivotal role in shaping Korea's destiny, exposing it to both opportunities and challenges throughout its history. From the early migrations of nomadic tribes to the arrival of Buddhism and Confucianism, Korea's history is a testament to its ability to synthesize diverse cultural elements into a distinct and vibrant identity. The ebb and flow of history saw Korea transitioning from a collection of small tribal states to the emergence of powerful kingdoms that dominated the peninsula. The Three Kingdoms period, marked by the rivalry between Goguryeo, Baekje and Silla, witnessed impressive advancements in art, architecture and political organization. This era laid the foundation for a unified Korean identity, paving the way for the cultural and political zeniths that would follow. The unification of the Korean Peninsula under the Silla dynasty in the 7th century marked a golden age in Korean history. The Silla period witnessed a flourishing of Buddhist art and architecture, as exemplified by the magnificent Bulguksa Temple and the Seokguram Grotto, both UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The Silla dynasty also saw the development of a centralized administrative system and a vibrant literary tradition, solidifying Korea's position as a major power in East Asia. Korea's past is like an echo, you know? It still rings in Korea today. It's shaped how Koreans see themselves, what they believe is important, and how they see the rest of the world. Think about those old kingdoms, how tough Korea has always been, and how they always come up with new ideas. All of that still matters in Korea today. If you want to understand why Korea is so cool and where it's going, you gotta know where it came from. One big part of Korea's story is the Joseon dynasty. They ruled for over 500 years. That's a super long time. They had a big impact on Korean culture. They followed something called Neo-Confucianism, and it changed how families worked, how society was organized, and even art. But one of the coolest things from that time is Hangul, the Korean alphabet. They made it then, and it shows how much the Joseon dynasty cared about education and culture. Gap 2S. But it wasn't always easy for the Joseon dynasty. They had fights within the kingdom, other countries tried to invade, and the world was changing fast around them. But even with all those problems, Korea never forgot who they were. They kept their artistic spirit and never gave up. That toughness is still a big part of what it means to be Korean today. The Kingdom of Silla, initially the weakest of the three kingdoms, transformed in the 6th century CE, leading to its dominance over the Korean Peninsula. Under King Jinhung, Silla expanded, forming alliances and modernizing its military. Silla's rise marked a turning point, leading to the unification of the three kingdoms and a golden age. The unified Silla period saw unprecedented peace, prosperity, and cultural flourishing. The unification of the Korean Peninsula under Silla in the 7th century CE marked a watershed moment in Korean history. The unified Silla period witnessed a flourishing of arts, literature, and scholarship. This golden age laid the foundation for the cultural achievements of subsequent Korean dynasties. One of the most enduring legacies was the consolidation of a unified Korean identity. Regional differences gave way to a shared sense of belonging and cultural unity. As the unified Silla period ended in the late 9th century CE, internal strife and weakening central authority plagued the kingdom. Regional lords asserted their independence, leading to the later Three Kingdoms period. From this chaos, Joseon founded the Goryeo dynasty, reunifying the peninsula in 936 CE. Goryeo rulers adopted a decentralized approach, granting autonomy to local lords in exchange for loyalty. Goryeo, named after Goguryeo, connected with its ancient legacy, fostering national pride. Positioned between China and the Mongols, Goryeo skillfully navigated East Asia's geopolitical landscape. The Goryeo period saw flourishing trade, enriching society with new ideas and cultural influences. The Goryeo period was marked by cultural achievements, innovation, and a cosmopolitan outlook. Goryeo society produced a rich tapestry of art, literature, and technological advancements. The invention of metal movable type printing revolutionized knowledge dissemination. Goryeo celadon, with its elegant forms and jade green glaze, became highly prized in East Asia. Buddhist art and architecture flourished, with temples like Hainsa housing the Tripitaka Koreana. The Tripitaka Koreana, created as a prayer for protection, showcases Goryeo's dedication and artistry. The Goryeo dynasty faced internal power struggles and external threats that tested its resilience. Internally, aristocratic power struggles and peasant uprisings weakened central authority. Externally, Goryeo faced invasions from the Khitan Liao dynasty and the Mongol Empire. The Mongol invasions in the 13th century led to Goryeo's submission and vassalage in 1259. Despite hardships, Goryeo preserved its cultural identity and influenced the Mongol Empire. Goryeo artisans and scholars were valued at the Yuan court, contributing to cultural exchange. The Mongol period introduced new ideas and technologies, impacting Korea's military and textile production. The Goryeo dynasty left an indelible mark on Korean history, shaping its cultural, political, and social landscape. Goryeo's legacy extends beyond its borders, influencing neighboring countries. The name Korea, derived from Goryeo, solidified its place in history. Goryeo's cultural influence, particularly on Japan, enriched both nations' cultural landscapes. The Goryeo period stands as a testament to the resilience and creativity of the Korean people. Goryeo's achievements continue to inspire and shape Korea's identity today. So, Goryeo wasn't doing so well. There were fights within the kingdom and the Mongols were still causing trouble. But guess what? A new leader appeared. His name was General Yi Seong-gye. He was super important because he fought off the last of the Mongols and even some Japanese pirates. Then something big happened. In 1392, Yi Seong-gye started a whole new kingdom called the Joseon Dynasty. That was the end of Goryeo's reign. He changed his name to Taejo, which is like a royal nickname. This was a huge moment in Korean history. The Joseon dynasty wanted to be strong, so they made some changes. They made sure the government had all the power and made the army super powerful too. Everyone had to serve in the army, and they built big, strong walls along the northern borders. The Joseon dynasty embraced Neo-Confucianism, shaping Korea's social, political, and cultural landscape. Neo-Confucianism emphasized moral principles, social harmony, and hierarchical relationships. The Joseon rulers promoted its teachings, integrating them into society. A strict social hierarchy was established, limiting social mobility. Confucian principles shaped the legal system, emphasizing filial piety and social harmony. The civil service examination system aimed to select the most qualified individuals for government positions. The Joseon dynasty faced devastating invasions and internal conflicts. The Imjin War, 1592 to 1598, brought widespread destruction as Japan invaded Korea. Admiral Yi Sun-sin's naval victories were crucial in repelling the Japanese forces. The war devastated the economy and led to a loss of confidence in the government. Internal factionalism within the Yangban class intensified, leading to political instability. Different factions vied for power, undermining the effectiveness of the Joseon government. Section 5. Resilience and Innovation, Adapting to Change in Late Joseon. The Joseon dynasty, despite invasions and conflicts, showed resilience and innovation, especially in its later years. The late Joseon period saw intellectual, economic, and social changes as Koreans adapted to a changing world. Silhak, or practical learning, emerged, challenging Neo-Confucian orthodoxy with practical solutions. Silhak scholars advocated for land reform, agricultural innovation, and a meritocratic society. Commerce flourished, and a growing merchant class challenged traditional disdain for trade. Bustling marketplaces offered goods from local textiles to imported luxuries. The rise of the merchant class brought significant social and economic changes. Technological innovations marked the late Joseon period, reflecting ingenuity. The rain gauge, invented by Prince Munjong, showed early scientific interest. New crops like chili peppers and sweet potatoes increased agricultural productivity. Section 1. The Approaching Storm. The End of an Era and the Rise of Imperial Japan. As the 19th century ended, the Joseon dynasty faced Western imperialism and Japan's rise. Japan, modernizing rapidly, sought dominance over Korea. The Joseon court struggled to adapt, becoming vulnerable. Japan's military victories and treaties reduced Korea's sovereignty. The assassination of Empress Myeongseong in 1895 marked a turning point. Following its victory in the Russo-Japanese War, which solidified Japan's dominance in East Asia, Japan wasted no time in tightening its grip on Korea. In 1910, Japan formally annexed Korea, ending centuries of Korean independence and ushering in a period of colonial rule that would last for 35 tumultuous years. The Japanese annexation, met with widespread resistance from the Korean people, marked the beginning of a dark chapter in Korean history, characterized by oppression, exploitation, and a systematic attempt to erase Korean culture and identity. The Japanese colonial administration, driven by an ideology of Japanese superiority and a determination to assimilate Korea into the Japanese Empire, implemented a series of policies designed to eradicate Korean culture and replace it with Japanese language, customs, and values. Korean language and history were banned from schools, replaced by Japanese equivalents. Korean newspapers and publications were shuttered, replaced by Japanese-controlled media outlets that disseminated pro-Japanese propaganda. The Japanese colonial government implemented a system of land expropriation, seizing vast tracts of farmland from Korean farmers and redistributing them to Japanese settlers. This policy, driven by Japan's insatiable demand for rice and other agricultural products, led to widespread dispossession and impoverishment of Korean farmers, forcing many to become tenant farmers or laborers on land they once owned. Korea's industrial development during the colonial period primarily served Japanese interests. The Japanese built factories, mines, and railroads in Korea, but these projects primarily benefited Japanese corporations and the Japanese war machine. Korean workers endured harsh working conditions, low wages and discrimination, fueling resentment and resistance against Japanese rule. Even though life was hard under Japanese rule, Koreans never gave up hope. From the moment the Japanese flag flew over Korea, people started fighting back. All sorts of people joined in: students, teachers, farmers, workers, and even Koreans living in other countries. They all wanted Korea to be free again. One of the bravest things they did happened on March 1st, 1919. Korean students, hearing about ideas of freedom from around the world, held a peaceful protest in Seoul. They read aloud the Korean Declaration of Independence, a document saying Korea should be its own country. This became known as the March 1st movement. It made people all over Korea stand up and say they wanted freedom too. Sadly, the Japanese rulers didn't listen. They hurt and arrested many peaceful Koreans. Thousands of people were hurt, and many villages were burned. Even though it was a terrible time, the March 1st movement showed everyone how much Koreans wanted to be free. It made them even more determined. Gap 2. Important Koreans who had escaped to other countries formed a group called the Korean Provisional Government in Shanghai, China. Leaders like Syngman Rhee and Kim Gu asked other countries for help. They also organized secret fighters and made sure the world knew Korea was still fighting for freedom. The outbreak of World War II in 1939 had profound implications for Korea, further entangling the peninsula in the maelstrom of global conflict and setting the stage for its eventual division. Japan, allied with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy, viewed the war as an opportunity to expand its empire and secure its dominance in Asia. Korea, under Japan's iron grip, became a staging ground for Japan's military expansion, its resources and people conscripted to fuel Japan's war effort. The Japanese colonial government intensified its exploitation of Korea's resources and manpower, forcing Korean farmers to increase food production to feed the Japanese war machine, and conscripting Korean men and women to work in factories, mines, and on the front lines. Korean women and girls in particular suffered horrific abuse as comfort women, forced into sexual slavery by the Japanese military. As the war progressed and Japan's fortunes waned, the Allied powers began to view Korea's strategic importance. The Cairo Declaration, issued by the United States, the United Kingdom, and China in 1943, stated that in due course Korea shall become free and independent. This declaration, though vague on the specifics of Korean independence, provided a glimmer of hope for Koreans longing for liberation from Japanese rule. Korean independence activists, both at home and abroad, saw an opportunity in Japan's impending defeat to achieve their long-cherished dream of a free and independent Korea. Korean soldiers forced to fight for the Japanese Imperial Army deserted in droves, joining Allied forces or forming resistance units to fight for Korea's liberation. Section 5: Seeds of Division, the Legacy of Occupation and War. The end of World War II in 1945 brought Korea's liberation from Japan's colonial rule. However, the joy was short-lived as Korea was divided by Cold War tensions between the US and the Soviet Union. This division led to the Korean War and a lasting ideological divide. The 38th parallel became a hardened border, shaping Korea's future. The Soviet Union installed a communist regime in the north, while the US supported a pro-Western government in the south. This division had profound and tragic consequences for the Korean people. Section 1. A Nation Divided, the Korean War Ignites. The Korean War erupted on June 25, 1950, shattering the fragile peace. North Korean forces invaded South Korea, capturing Seoul within days. The United States led a United Nations coalition to repel the invasion, marking the first major military confrontation of the Cold War. Section 2. The Brutal Reality of War. a peninsula engulfed in conflict. The Korean War, fought on a small peninsula, was one of the most brutal wars of the 20th century. It left a landscape scarred by modern warfare. The war's shifting front lines and bombing campaigns brought untold suffering. The legacy of physical and psychological wounds would take generations to heal. By the summer of 1951, the Korean War had reached a bloody stalemate near the 38th parallel. Armistice talks began in July 1951 at Panmunjom, dragging on for 2 years. The armistice, signed on July 27, 1953, ended the fighting but not the conflict. The DMZ was established along the 38th parallel, dividing Korea into 2 states. The war intensified the Cold War rivalry, highlighting the dangers of a bipolar world order. The 1953 armistice ended the fighting but left Korea divided. North Korea embraced communism under Kim Il-sung, while South Korea, with American aid, pursued economic growth and democracy. The divergent paths led to stark contrasts in their development. The Korean War, though officially over for over 7 decades, continues to cast a long shadow over the Korean Peninsula and the wider world. The war's legacy is a complex tapestry of tragedy, division and resilience, reminding us of the human cost of ideological conflict. The most enduring legacy is the division of the Korean Peninsula and the separation of millions of families. The DMZ stands as a physical manifestation of the ideological divide between North and South Korea. Despite attempts at reconciliation, the 2 Koreas remain technically at war, marked by mistrust and military tension. The Korean War, while leaving a trail of devastation and division in its wake, paradoxically served as a crucible from which a new South Korea would emerge. The post-war years were marked by a remarkable transformation, a testament to the resilience, determination, and hard work of the South Korean people. From the ashes of conflict, South Korea rose to become a beacon of democracy, economic prosperity, and cultural dynamism, defying the odds and capturing the imagination of the world. The post-war period was a time of immense challenges for South Korea. The war had ravaged its infrastructure, crippled its economy, and left deep scars on its people. The fledgling nation, facing the daunting task of rebuilding from scratch, had limited natural resources and a per capita income lower than many sub-Saharan African countries. However, the South Korean people, driven by a shared sense of purpose and an unwavering belief in a brighter future, embarked on a remarkable journey of recovery and reconstruction. The government, under the leadership of President Syngman Rhee, implemented a series of economic reforms aimed at stabilizing the currency, attracting foreign investment, and promoting export-oriented industries. The South Korean government's focus on education played a crucial role in its post-war transformation. Recognizing that a skilled and educated workforce was essential for economic development, the government invested heavily in expanding access to education at all levels, from primary schools to universities. This emphasis on education paid handsome dividends, as South Korea soon developed a highly skilled and adaptable workforce that would drive its economic miracle. The decades following the Korean War witnessed an unprecedented period of economic growth and technological advancement in South Korea, often referred to as the Miracle on the Han River. Driven by a strong work ethic, government support, and a favorable global climate, South Korea transformed from a war-torn agrarian society into a global economic powerhouse and leader in technological innovation. The government focused on developing competitive industries like shipbuilding, electronics, and automobiles. Companies like Samsung, LG, and Hyundai became global leaders, synonymous with cutting-edge technology and high quality. South Korea's success isn't just about money and technology, it's also become super famous for its culture. From K-pop music to Korean movies and TV shows, people all over the world love what South Korea creates. This cultural wave is called Hallyu, or the Korean wave, and it's a big deal. It shows how creative and energetic Korean artists are. K-pop, which is short for Korean popular music, is everywhere these days. The music is catchy, the dancing is awesome, and the music videos are super cool. Groups like BTS, Blackpink, and EXO are huge stars. Their songs are at the top of the music charts, their concerts sell out instantly, and everyone wants their merchandise. Why is K-pop so popular? Well, the music is great, the dancing is amazing, the videos look fantastic, and they're really good at connecting with fans online. Korean movies and TV shows are also really popular around the world. Korean filmmakers tell interesting stories and they're not afraid to talk about difficult topics. They've won lots of awards at big film festivals like Cannes, Venice, and even the Oscars. So why is Korean culture so popular? It's really good. They're also smart about using the internet to reach people all over the world. Plus, more and more people are becoming interested in Korean culture and language. Hallyu has made South Korea look even better to the rest of the world, and it's also helped South Korea's economy. It brings in lots of money from tourism, merchandise, and other things. As South Korea entered the 21st century as a thriving democracy and a global economic and cultural powerhouse, the Korean Peninsula remained divided, a stark reminder of the unresolved tensions and the legacy of the Cold War. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, or North Korea, under the rule of the Kim Dynasty, persisted as an isolated and authoritarian state. Its nuclear ambitions and human rights record a source of international concern. The divided peninsula therefore presented both challenges and opportunities for South Korea, as it sought to navigate the complexities of inter-Korean relations, promote regional stability, and work towards the elusive goal of peaceful reunification. The threat posed by North Korea's nuclear weapons program remained South Korea's most pressing security concern. North Korea, despite international sanctions and condemnation, continued to develop its nuclear and ballistic missile capabilities, conducting a series of nuclear and missile tests that heightened tensions on the peninsula and raised fears of a regional arms race. South Korea, in response, strengthened its military alliance with the United States, deploying advanced missile defense systems and conducting joint military exercises to deter potential North Korean aggression. Despite the challenges posed by North Korea, South Korea remained committed to the goal of peaceful reunification, albeit a long-term one. The South Korean government, while acknowledging the difficulties of engaging with a regime as opaque and unpredictable as North Korea's, pursued a policy of cautious engagement, seeking to build trust and create conditions conducive to dialogue and cooperation. The future of the Korean Peninsula remained uncertain, shaped by a complex interplay of geopolitical forces, domestic political dynamics, and the aspirations of the Korean people on both sides of the DMZ. The divided peninsula, a legacy of the Cold War, presented both challenges and opportunities for South Korea, as it sought to navigate the complexities of inter-Korean relations, promote regional stability, and work towards the elusive goal of a unified, peaceful, and prosperous Korean nation.